Long before the floodwaters rose, the earth was walked by anomalies. The ancient texts call them the Nephilim, the giants, the men of renown, towering figures who cast a long, dark shadow over early humanity. Genesis chapter 6 describes a bizarre crossing of boundaries. It speaks of the sons of God looking upon the daughters of men and taking wives from among them. This unnatural mingling produced offspring that completely defied the created order. The physical scale of these giants matched the era's absolute moral collapse. The biblical record is unsparing. Every single imagination of the human heart was focused entirely on evil, all the time. In response to this rapid decay, the Creator imposed a strict physical boundary on the chaos. A divine decree dropped the maximum human lifespan down to 120 years, starting a definitive countdown clock for a corrupt generation. The earth was entirely filled with violence. It had deviated so far from its original purpose that a gentle course correction was impossible. To preserve the future of life itself, the architect of the world had to dismantle it. The decision to destroy the earth came from a place of profound grief. The text explicitly notes that the Lord repented of making humanity, and the weight of their wickedness grieved him deep within his heart. Yet amidst this darkness, the genealogy of Genesis 5 reveals small pockets of light. There was Enoch, a man who lived 365 years, walking so closely with God that he simply vanished, taken directly from the earth without seeing death. Later in that same lineage, a man named Lamech had a son. He named the boy in hope, prophesying that this specific child would finally bring rest and comfort from their agonizing toil on a ground that God had cursed. That son was Noah. In a society entirely consumed by violence, Noah stood out as a just man, perfect in his generations, and one who, like his ancestor Enoch, walked quietly with God. Unlike the giants of his day, Noah listened. His quiet obedience allowed him to find grace in the eyes of the Lord, making him the single remaining tether between a doomed civilization and its survival. Survival required an immense vessel. The instructions were mathematically exact. Build an ark of 300 cubits, or roughly 450 feet, in length. Add 50 cubits for width and 30 for height. It was constructed from sturdy gopher wood, broken into distinct compartments inside. To withstand the coming pressure of a worldwide cataclysm, every single plank inside and out had to be heavily sealed with thick, waterproof pitch. The logistics of life support were staggering. Noah was ordered to bring 2 of every living creature into the ark, a male and female to preserve the species, along with 7 pairs of every clean animal and every bird. Once Noah, his family, and the animals were safely inside, the heavy timber door was left entirely out of their control. The ancient record notes that the Lord himself shut them in. This design functioned as a sealed wooden vault, built without sails, oars, or a rudder, to float passively through the destruction of the world beneath it. In the 600th year of Noah's life, the destruction came from above and below. The earth's crust fractured as all the fountains of the great deep burst open simultaneously, while the windows of heaven poured down massive volumes of water for 40 days and 40 nights. The water rose violently, swelling 15 cubits above the highest peaks. Every stronghold, every empire, and every Nephilim was completely submerged and silenced. Inside the wooden sanctuary, 8 people drifted in darkness on an endless, chaotic ocean. For 150 days, the waters prevailed. There was no land, no direction, and no visible end to the deluge. Then, the text offers 3 of the most crucial words in the entire narrative. God remembered Noah. A divine wind passed over the earth, closing the deep springs, stopping the rain, and slowly pushing back the waters. To test the surface, Noah opened a window. He released a raven, which flew back and forth endlessly. Then he sent out a dove. On its second flight, the dove returned in the evening, carrying a freshly plucked olive leaf in its beak. That fragile green leaf proved the floodwaters had finally receded enough for trees to sprout. The wrath had exhausted itself. The earth was ready to be inhabited once again. In the 7th month, the ark finally ground to a halt. Its massive hull came to rest securely on the high rocky peaks of the mountains of Ararat. When the heavy doors finally opened and Noah stepped onto dry ground, he bypassed his own need for shelter. He immediately gathered clean animals and built an altar to the Lord. As the smoke of the sacrifice rose, God made a solemn vow. He promised never to strike down all living creatures in this way again, decreeing that as long as the earth remained, the cycles of seed time and harvest, cold and heat, and summer and winter would never cease. To seal this eternal covenant between himself and all living flesh, God placed a specific sign in the sky. He set his bow in the clouds. For over a year, dark clouds had meant nothing but terror. By placing the rainbow there, the ultimate weapon of divine judgment was permanently reframed into a visible, enduring promise of mercy. The clean slate of the new world was stained almost immediately. Noah, the righteous survivor, planted a vineyard. He drank the wine, became heavily intoxicated, and lay uncovered inside his tent. His son, Ham, saw his father's vulnerable state and carelessly exposed it to his brothers outside. When Noah awoke and realized what had happened, he pronounced a severe and lasting curse upon Ham's son, Canaan. The floodwaters had successfully wiped out a society consumed by violence, but the dark inclination of the human heart, the very flaw that caused the deluge, was completely waterproof. It had survived the journey right inside the ark. The rainbow remains a permanent, visible promise that divine mercy will outlast human failure. If you found this journey through the ancient world compelling, leave a like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which biblical mystery we should uncover next.